I'm Catherine Joy. I am a composer for film and media and live performance. I am also the CEO and founder of Joy Music House, which is a score production company, a team of composers that support other composers. I am also an educator. I teach in the master's screen scoring program at NYU Steinhardt, and I'm a community leader. I was a past president of the Alliance for Women Film Composers, now on the advisory board, and on the early career committee of the Society of Composers and Lyricists. There's so many different ways to market yourself as a composer. And I think the thing that's been really interesting to me is seeing how people do it from an authentic way that really resonates with who they are as a person. And I think that is the most critical way to do it. One composer who's really known for his social media game is Juan Desan. And when you meet him and when you watch his videos, you see it's the same person, right? And I think that authentic approach is critical. My buddy Nikhil Kaparkar not only does a lot of social media marketing as a composer, but he started a book reading Discord and does book reviews. And so I think that is a really unique way where you're sharing about yourself as a composer, but you're also sharing another part of yourself. So you're connecting with the community in more than just one way. I think people, when they're just hammering, I'm a composer, and they're not letting people into any other aspect of their life, I think that's when it can get old really quickly. But the people who have the most unique approach is when they're tying in another aspect of their personality into their marketing. Where should I live is the biggest question I get from up-and-coming composers. I think it can still be very beneficial to live in LA, to live in New York, Toronto, London, Nashville, because there is so much happening there in the industry. So there's just more people, you meet more people in the industry. So it may increase your chances of getting work by maybe like 1 to 2%. It's probably going to be incremental. And you can definitely do so much from not living here. It's all about increasing your odds. I encourage people to at least visit places like LA or New York, become part of that community, become part of that community online as well. I mean, I think that's a great thing now is that you can participate in a lot of things that are happening in the big hubs while not actually physically being there. So a lot of people who don't live in LA, they're so responsive, they're so interactive that I feel like I see them at every event because that's the kind of presence they have via the internet. I don't think as a film composer, you need to become an expert in one genre. I think the benefit of being a film composer is you get to play in a bunch of different genres and in a bunch of different styles without you having to be an expert in it. Being a film composer does require versatility. When people ask, like, what should I put on my reel? What should I put on my website? I do say to them, put your favorite tracks. Now, my favorite tracks all don't fit into one genre. There's a few genres that I excel at, and more importantly, that I'm excited about. And I think that's a big thing as well, is like, what kind of projects do you want to be doing? I don't do a lot of horror. That's not my jam. It's not what I like watching. There's no horror tracks on my reel. I did a horror film quite recently, actually, but the music was not traditional horror at all, except for like the chase scene, right? Everything else was more my thing, which is like chamber music, quirky sounds, like a little bit of hybrid orchestral and pop or electronic. That score specifically was a great fit for me, and I'm definitely going to release that EP, even though technically it's a horror film. Figure out what you love to write and continue to get better at that and lead with that. So when you have your reel on your website, the tracks that you have, especially the tracks at the beginning, are in genres and styles within film scoring that you are really excited about and you feel is your best work. It's the music that you think about when you think about what you want to be scoring. And I think specifically, you need to think about the projects and the films that you like to watch, that you're watching regularly, and really connect with that community, connect with filmmakers who are doing that work, because then that's the work that's going to be brought to you. I think there is a lot of value in entering film scoring competitions. First of all, often the films that you're scoring, in a lot of film scoring competitions, they're animations, and I think they look really good on your reel. And you can use them on your reel after you do the competition. And I think it's so cool to have that opportunity. Some of these competitions, you can get feedback. You can pay for feedback. I think it's really challenging as an adult composer to have opportunities for feedback. It's something that you get if you went through a school program. But once you're in the real world, it's really challenging to get actual feedback. A lot of the competitions do offer that. I think that's really beneficial. I think there's also a lot of benefit in scoring something and then hearing 100 people score it a different way. That's a great educational experience. I think it's great opportunity maybe for composers who haven't gone to school for film composing, because this is something that happens a lot if you do a master's degree in film scoring. A lot of people can't afford that. So this is a good opportunity alongside that, although I do tell students who are in school to do these competitions. I really encourage composers who are starting out to get a day job. And it's interesting because the music industry is one of the only industries in the world of film where day jobs are discouraged, and often like you're not legit if you have a day job in doing something that's not music, which I think is terrible. Because if you're an actor, you're going to be having a day job that's flexible around your auditions. Like every other aspect of film, people often have day jobs that are not in the industry. It's really important to find a job that doesn't drain you emotionally and physically, so that when you're done with the job, you can leave it there and you can go home and write. So you do want something that's flexible in that way and that just like leaves you with energy. That's not a financial tip, but that's an energy and a reality tip. If you enjoy teaching is a great way to make money as a composer, because you can charge, whatever you want. So often you're getting in an hour more bang for buck than if you're working a day job. So for me, teaching has always been a way that I've supplemented my career as a composer. I get asked the cold call, cold email question a lot. And does it still work? Is it worth doing? And I would say yes. One of the best working relationships I have now was a result of a cold email. I saw this new production company pop up in Seattle when I was still working as a film composer up there. The company really resonated with me. And so I just reached out to them and just said, I'm a beginner film composer. I just saw you announce your production company. I'm really excited about what you're doing. They responded immediately. We went out, had coffee, and we've been working together now for 15 years. So now I can't even count how many cold emails that I've sent out and cold calls that I've done in my life. So I would say if you look at percentage of how many work, it may be like 1 in 100. Everyone's going to have an allergic reaction to a cold email that's clearly template, that isn't thoughtful. So if you're going to write them, make sure you do a good job, because people do read them. And this is your opportunity to make an impression. And one thing I can tell you about professionals in our industry is that it's a very small community. People do talk. If you do send an email that's tone deaf, people will talk about it. They'll probably talk about it more than a great email, sadly. So it's really important to be thoughtful about every single communication that you're sending out. As a freelance creative, taking care of your body and your mind is absolutely critical. There's this thing in our industry where it's like, I'll sleep when I'm dead. And let me tell you, that is such a bad idea. Purely, you have to think about this as a financial line item. You have to think about health as a line item. Because if you get sick, 1, it's super expensive. 2, you have to stop working. 3, you maybe become a burden on someone else, which really screws the people around you. So you have to start thinking about health and well-being as a critical part of the job. I literally have a scar on my face to remind me of this, because I pushed things too hard and I fainted into the door of my studio, and an inch either way, I probably would have lost my eye. And that was a very stark reminder of how important it is to take care of yourself. My dad always says, work the body as much as you're working the mind, which is challenging for creative freelancers, because a lot of our work is sitting at a rig or sitting at the board and doing the work, and body is still. So finding ways to move the body. My number 1 tip for how to market your music and yourself as a composer is, 1, to really figure out what you want your life as a composer to look like. What do you want to be doing For me, I've learned that one, definitely want to be scoring projects, all kinds of projects. Two, the live performance aspect is now, a big thing for me. The cool thing is that what's important to you is different than what's important to everyone else. So, step one is know thyself, right? Is to become really clear on what you like. And the other cool part of this is it will change. As you get older, as your career develops, your focuses are going to shift. And then it's going to be a new thing for you to explore in your career. And that's also going to be a great way to connect with people. But the number one thing is just to figure out what makes you tick and then to share that with the community at large. And that's how people are going to resonate with you.